Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Noise Report. This week we are covering two interesting albums of entirely different genres. I'm your host, Justin Horn.
I am your host, Trey Agraciani.
Don't listen to him; he's a filthy liar. Okay.
No!
So our two albums this week are Delta Sleep's Twin Galaxies and Brain Tentacles' self-titled album. And I
Brain Tentacles.
I believe we are starting out with the Brain Tentacles album this week.
That we shall.
All right. So Brain Tentacles is like an experimental metal supergroup. It's made up of
I wanted to say like avant-garde.
Yeah, some
it.
very avant-garde metal supergroup. They've got a lot of members from other bands that are fairly popular. And they're just kind of doing their own thing. This is kind of a tongue-in-cheek album, but also somewhat serious. It's
I would not be able to tell you.
It's something special. It's truly a special listening experience.
Yeah. This album was released September 30th, 2016, so there's a little bit of time. It's kind of recent, not really though. And I guess we can hop right into the first song.
Yeah.
King Da Ka.
Yeah, dude. King Da Ka.
King Da Ka.
So this song just kind of sets the tone for what the whole album is going to be.
Oh, trust me. It sets up something that's going to be happening the whole album.
So, pretty much you're hit immediately with just this wild and erratic saxophone playing. There's definitely a rhyme and reason there, but it's very, very difficult to spot on your first listen. It's just kind of a barrage of saxophone notes, and you're like,
it is
hold on,
absolutely
what the fuck
wild.
is happening? And yeah, it's truly a magical experience listening to this song for the first time, because you're going to be exceptionally confused.
I actually, the sound of it actually kind of scared me a little bit. It reminded me of like a carnival, but like not a carnival. It was pretty funky fresh and not exactly what I was expecting going into it.
Dude, that's good. That's good. Having the expectation shattered for something far more terrifying is always a good thing. I wish horror movies would do that to me. But yeah, for the most part, this song is just showcasing the absolutely insane saxophone playing. But there's a small break in it. I want to say it's around like 1 minute mark, somewhere around there. That it also showcases what you can expect for the bass part for the vast majority of the album, which is just absolute popping the fuck off. This bassist is wild.
The bass part, holy shit!
He
absolutely went off on this.
Dude, the bassist is just nuts. He makes me want to nut. I'm trying to think.
He makes me want to put nuts into a special kind of holiday treat, a fruitcake, which is also the title of the second track, Fruitcake.
That's interesting that you should transition that way. That kind of makes me want to go nya 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 nya, just like the intro sample.
I laughed really hard at that because I was like, what the fuck is this? And then the fucking music comes in and it's like, and I'm like, oh my god.
It's just like the fucking grooviest saxophone to have ever graced planet Earth. It's great. I love it. It almost sounds Middle Eastern flared.
Yeah, it took me quite a while to get a grasp on exactly what was happening in this song. I wasn't really sure throughout most of it, and I still don't really know after listening to it. I have a little example here of how this song made me feel, and it's like if a 60s cartoon took crack and then was played by an actual metal band. And yeah, that's about how I felt.
That's a pretty accurate representation, I would say. I mean, it's still groovy as hell, though. And, like, it hits that part where I want to say it's either a tenor sax or a bari sax. It's just like... and then it just hits up that absolutely insane alto part again. That's just like, hold on, stop the ride, I want to get off. But yeah, I fucking love that song. This song is absolutely legendary. It's the first song I actually heard off this album, and I heard it a couple years ago. But that inspired me to recommend this album because there's nothing quite like fruitcake.
Did you know there's also nothing quite like, Justin?
You're gonna say a Cosmic Warriors girth curse, aren't you?
I might have been.
So this
I'm gonna be real with you, Justin.
yeah, you gonna be real with me, Big Chief?
Starting from this song onward, I began to slowly and surely hate this album. And it's this song that kind of hit me hard because, hoo boy, it's 9 minutes long and there's not really much going on for those 9 minutes.
Well, I mean, I would agree for the first
Up until about 5 minutes in, like the drums pick up and there's
Yeah.
like a synth sound, and I was like, oh man, that's really cool. But for the first 5 minutes, there's like a kazoo, and
yeah,
like
the first
it's like bwah, bwah, and I'm like, oh my god,
yeah,
get
it's
on with
it's
it.
really in fact that actually reminds me. The first thing that I have written down is that this song is one big dick tease.
It's so bad.
Um
It's the whole point, or not the whole point. The whole issue I had with most of this song is the fact that for almost the entirety of it, the backing instrumentation was the same repeated thing for 5 minutes straight.
yeah, just like
And
a
it was
very monotone note.
it was just bum 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 bum, and I wanted to. I was falling asleep listening to this thing, and then 5 minutes hit me, and I was like, "Ah, not bad." And then it like just kind of started repeating that. I'm like, oh, "Okay, is there any talent around here? Come on, guys, step it up a little bit."
Yeah,
That's
so
a little mean. I didn't really think it was that bad, but it was getting on my nerves.
I actually do quite like a lot of the stuff that they do with this song. It's just they do it for too long.
Oh, way too long.
Like I like the idea of having the sax come in and it's like kind of in your face and then it just stops and then there's like that break and then the sax comes in again and then it stops and there's that break. I think that's a really cool use of space to keep the listener's attention for the first like minute and a half maybe. But it just does that for way too long. I mean, sure, they throw in some interesting drum fills and stuff to like kind of keep it fresh and interesting, but it's not enough. It's not enough to carry it. However, I do really like the vocals on this song.
Oh yeah, he comes in with some scream vocals that have a cool filter on it.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's like he's buried under a mountain of dust and dirt and shit, and he's just like screaming for mercy. And then in the latter half of the song, he's just like super washed out and in the background, like he's lost at sea or some shit. So I do appreciate that quite a bit. But yeah, I would agree that the song does overstay its welcome.
well, you know what, Justin? Even though it might overstay its welcome, you can always trust in the hand of God to guide you into the right direction.
Oh, you mean track
coming into
4?
the next coming into the next song, track 4, Hand of God. Dude, the bass in this fucking song just rocks my world.
Oh, absolutely. Their bassist is nutty. I actually have a very small note for this track, which is
Go for it.
doom metal, but it's saxophones.
You right?
That's about it. That's about all I've got for this one. I mean, it's a decent track, and I do like a lot of what the sax is doing. It's kind of menacing sounding and heavy and a little slower pace, but at the same time, it's not the same.
You know, Justin, after that last song, coming into these next pretty much the rest of the songs on the album is I'm just gonna come out and say it, dude. The fucking saxophone, I hate it. I hate everything about it. It is one of the most annoying things I've heard in music in a long time, and I think I wouldn't have hated it so much had it not been in every single song in the exact same way, doing the exact same thing every single time. I was losing my shit towards the end. I'll get there more, but I absolutely hate the saxophone in this album, and I think that's kind of like the mainstay of it. So,
Well, I mean, since you hate the saxophone in this album, you can take comfort in knowing that you're not alone. As the sample on track 5 at the
fucking
beginning
love-
is just a guy's like, and then the saxophone comes in and it's like, "Whee!" And it fucking ruins that song. Fuck
fuck rock and roll sax.
Fuck rock sax. And that's kind of sounds like what you're feeling right now, dude.
And I wrote I agree on my notes. Um,
So I actually love this song because of how out there it is. The saxophone sounds like a fucking circus from hell on this track, and the vocalist is just, it's like he took methamphetamine, covered his head in a plastic bag, and just started running down the street. It's great. It's absolutely everything I want to hear in my avant-garde crazy shit.
yeah, I really couldn't get behind this song. I think it was at this point where I was like nearing my like threshold of I'm gonna lose my shit if I hear the saxophone one more time. And I liked it was an odd choice of sampling in the song, but I didn't necessarily hate it.
Yeah.
It was odd, but I guess that's like kind of what this whole album is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this entire thing is just one big joke, and everybody that bought it is getting played, but I don't care.
I could definitely see it being that, but I could also see it being some kind of like specialty, like this is our original sound, dude.
It's an original sound. Anyone that does saxophone metal after us is just a copycat, dude.
Fuck rock and roll sex.
So, track 6 is titled The Spoiler, and this might be my favorite song on the album. No, probably second favorite song on the album. So, I've got only a few notes for this one as well.
Yeah, I don't really have much.
The first one is grindcore, but it's saxophones.
I love the grit in this song, especially on the bass.
Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
bass.
It's just it sounds filthy.
I love the sound of the bass in this song, where it's legitimately almost sounds like like a synth like bass machine that's been passed through like 15 filters.
Yeah.
And it's like slap, and it's just like and it's like, oh my god, fucking nut on me again.
Yeah. The vocals on this track are probably the most animalistic on the entire album as well.
Oh yeah.
Which is definitely fitting for grindcore style music. And I feel like that's almost what the entire concept of this album is just, okay, what's a genre of metal? Okay, replace the guitars with saxophones. Let's do it.
I could see it definitely.
Yeah, that's honestly what this whole thing feels like.
The energy from this fucking song was wild too.
Oh, yeah,
Especially
yeah.
like coming into that screaming part. It was like, holy shit!
That the spoiler was actually
something like
just a
that.
really executed, well executed track.
There's one I didn't hate with a burning passion.
Track 7 is Death Rules. I'm kind of torn on this track because part of me really likes it, what they do with the percussion, but the other part of me just really hates what they do with the saxophones.
Yeah, I really loved the percussion in this song. It was the variation and like the styles throughout it were super fucking lit. But there were some things I just couldn't really get with, especially the fact that like there's that one sample that I think it was like the saxophone through a bunch of filters, but it sounded like a dog barking.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I actually have that on here. It's like
The
wait,
dog barking sample?
Yeah, it's like latter half of the track, the sax turns into some kind of barking hellhound.
Yeah. And there's no real change up like in the for like half the song.
Yeah.
And it's
the one
just a
positive part that
repetitive-
I can say about that earlier part of the song is that whenever they do their little bursts of saxophone going nuts and like drum fills and bass and everything's popping the fuck off, I really, really like the part in between those parts where it's just the hi-hat. It's like just kind of tinging away on that hi-hat, teasing your balls a little bit. It's like, yeah, it's coming back. It's coming back, but what you gonna do about it? Unfortunately, the saxophone is just a little bit too sour and shitty on this track.
That's how it felt for me for most of the album.
Oof.
But saying that doesn't make me a sadist. But this song sure is.
Track 8, The Sadist. It's like...
I loved the intro sample in this.
Yeah, honestly, the intro sample was fucking badass. It's like...
And then the brass ruined everything.
Well, my notes on this one is... It's like black metal if it was saxophones. And I like the black metal vocal delivery. Maybe a little bit...
I love the...
Maybe a little bit too many effects on it, but other than that, it's like they really stayed true to the typical black metal style of taking literally the shittiest microphone in the place and just yelling at it, which is really playing into that aesthetic. But then it's like the horns are just kind of doing the exact same thing here.
The exact same thing is done for the past 8 songs.
Yeah, which I get as kind of the style of, okay, yeah, we're just going to replace the guitar with saxophones. But I feel like the more I listened through this album, it just feels like the ball was dropped. And they could have just had an actual guitar playing the saxophone parts and then had the saxophones doing something different and more
That would have
unique.
made this an entirely different album.
Yeah, and it probably would have accentuated the actual saxophone more.
I
Like,
definitely think I would have liked it a lot more.
yeah, I feel like The
that were the
Sadist
case.
would have been a much better song if the saxophone had actually been doing something more saxophony rather than going like...
Wow.
Track 9 is actually my favorite track on the album.
This is also my favorite track on the album.
And it's titled Fata Morgana. And this is kind of what the entire album should have sounded like, in my opinion.
That is exactly what I was thinking throughout this entire song. As I was thinking, if the whole album had been more like this song, I would have loved it indefinitely more. Because there's just something about how the saxophone playing more of like a smooth jazz type of feel, with like the metal like
The rumbling
backing with
bass
it.
and like the metal
it
drumming.
just fits so perfectly.
Yeah, it was almost hypnotic, and like it was actually, this was probably the most unsettling sounding song on the whole album because of how haunting that saxophone worked in with the bass and the drums really worked out to be. This song is actually just phenomenal.
So I forgot to remind myself to look it up, but to their credit, this song reminded me a lot of like old Metallica music I used to listen to, but then with a saxophone.
Yeah, kind of like Nothing Else Matters almost. Like,
yes, that's the one I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Nothing Else Matters. It was like that. I imagine Nothing Else Matters, but put a saxophone in there, and the saxophone is good. And I was like, throughout the entire song, I was watching the like timer tick by, and I'm like, please don't ruin this. Please don't ruin this. You're doing so well for yourself. And they didn't. It is the best song on the album, Fata Morgana. I would recommend this to literally anyone.
Yeah, this is
I don't care what kind of
good-ass
music
song.
you like. It's just a fucking good song.
Track 10, on the other hand, not so good.
Oh, God.
This one's called Peace and War. It's probably my least favorite track on the album.
My first line is, man, fucking back to the bad sax.
I have a very short section on this one as well, which is crust punk if it was saxophones, because that's really what it is. The vocals are like a combination of like old style sludge metal and crust vocals, and the instrumentation is just a little too fast for me to call it outright sludge. So
I liked how
I guess it's down to crust punk then.
Yeah, I like how it's like the changed between like speed and styles like consistently, and like that kept things really interesting. But just because it's interesting to listen to doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
And the grindy vocals again sound really cool, but they're really fucking hard to understand in the first place. So it's like I typically only see them as like an additional instrument,
Yeah.
not as like a story progressor.
Yeah, it's a
So
vocal instrument, and if you'll notice on their Bandcamp, they don't display any of the lyrics at all for any of the songs.
yeah,
So
probably because
yeah.
there actually isn't anything, and they were just
Hey now,
screaming random words.
hey now, Fata Morgana has lyrics.
You're right. You're right. I'm
I
sorry.
just don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Track 11 is Palantine, and it kind of
Valentine?
yeah,
Not
something like
entirely
that.
sure.
And it starts off kind of more in the same vein as Fata Morgana, and then kind of dips out, and then
Yep.
the real song starts.
It starts off with the chill bass line that we've all come to know and love from Fata Morgana, but then instead of being the smooth jazz bass, they bring back the overly used like guitar bass, and it made me really sad because I was kind of excited for a second.
Yeah.
And then about halfway through the song,
Oh, it's
shit
not
gets real.
halfway. It's not halfway. It's like 3 minutes, and the song's 12 minutes long.
Towards the end, or towards like it felt like the middle to me.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't know.
because the actual saxophone part was like, wow, this is interesting. And then suddenly you have what sounds like a probably mid 20s, mid late 20s African American male talking to a Chinese man over the phone. Actually, it starts out with a woman talking to these people about ordering brain tentacles. And this goes on for like 9 minutes. And I can't tell if it's absolutely beautiful and stunning how hilarious this shit is. Like, that they just threw this at the end of their album. Like, yep, this is a 12-minute long song, guys. But actually, it's a food order for something that doesn't exist.
Got him.
Dude, these guys gave no fucks when recording this album.
I can
Literally
tell.
negative fucks. They're like, hey guys, you want to just fuck with people and throw a long ass sample of some fake British guy and some like obviously not ordering food and working for a fake British guy, black guy? Yeah, guys, let's go for it. That sounds great.
Sounds exactly what I was looking for. Ugh.
So,
What do you think of this album overall, Justin? What's your thought?
my overall score for this is 8 out of 10 because I think it is actually quite boundary pushing, and a lot of people might be inspired to try something a little bit more like something like a combination of the Fata Morgana saxophone with the instrumentation on something like The Sadist. And I think that's pretty important. Do I think this album is super enjoyable to listen to? I would say no. It's pretty challenging, and it's not exactly for the most surface level of people. And it's also not for those who like really good saxophone. It's more for those that like really interesting soundscapes, and they aren't afraid if it sounds a little sour at times.
Well, coming from somebody who doesn't really like that kind of stuff, I overall give this a 4 out of 10. I think it's boring. The sax was annoying for a majority of the time. There are some really interesting ideas, but I think the utilization was lackluster, and maybe it was meant to be that way. I don't really know. I'm not the kind of guy who did it, but the only parts keeping these songs like together for me was the bass and occasionally the percussion. I felt absolutely nothing for the brass section, or the vocals occasionally were nice, but I just don't see it the same way. I think this is a shit show, and I would probably never listen to anything except Fata Morgana again.
Yeah,
Feels
Fata
real
Morgana
bad.
is a pretty damn good song.
That's a fucking
The cover art,
lit.
however, the cover art
I
is
love
fucking
the
litty.
cover art,
I give that
dude.
shit a solid 9 out of 10. It's
That is a
literally a brain octopus eating the shit out of a boat. That bastard's just like, you know what?
I'm just
Maybe
gonna
the
do
album
it.
is weird, but at least our art is fucking amazing.
I agree completely. Fucking the album art. Album art's best song on the album.
Agreed. So
Agreed.
anyway, onto your PP. I mean album. Uh, so
My
Delta
album was
Sleep.
yep, Delta Sleep's Twin Galaxies. An alternate indie math rock. Huh, I wonder if that's coming out of me, huh? Weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Album
You'd never do that.
released June 15th, 2015, near-ish the same time frame as before. Um and let's talk about it, brother.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Track one is pretty much boring and nothing to talk about. Okay.
Oi, 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 oi. Assemble is track number 1. Um it's like a 40 fucking second intro thing. Has nothing to do with the actual album, but I think it sounded pretty cool.
I mean,
That's about it.
sure, sure. I'll give that a sure. I'll give that a big sure there, Chief.
I thought it was just a really unique sounding thing. Didn't really do anything for me like musically, but I was like, damn, that sounds neat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Say what you think, bitch.
It's just kind of a bloopy little intro thing and doesn't contribute anything to the album. That's what I think. I think
Hmm,
I think this album would have been much better off if they just cut it.
really.
Yeah, yeah, that is what I think. What you gonna do about it, bitch boy?
I'm gonna I'll be right back. I have to go.
Eh?
Whatever. I'm back.
All right, cool. Now we can talk about an actual good track, which is track number 2, Uncle
Oh,
Ivan.
best song on the album.
Yeah,
My
this song,
favorite
this song
track.
fucking kicks massive ass, dude. Uncle Ivan is fucking litty. This man, I don't know who the hell Uncle Ivan is, but he can suck my wiener any day of the week, dude. This guy's great. Um, so like, it's this is like a math rock album, obviously. So it's going to sound incredibly mathy. They're doing a lot of time signature shit. There's some prog shit happening, and there's kind of an emo sound to it too. And then like the vocals are like combination indie rock with hardcore punk, and it's fucking litty as a titty.
Dude,
It
it's
makes
fucking
my nipples hard just thinking about it.
incredible. The mixture between the scream vocal or like the heavier screamish vocals to like the clean like sing-song ones are fucking incredible. I love how like midway through a word he's switching between the two of them, and I was like, "Damn, bro, that's some good stuff. Let me get a little bit more of that."
Let me just slurp that up with a straw real quick. That's gonna
Also, I
sound
love
great
the
in the
there's
podcast.
there's a bait build up like twice actually.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved both of them because I was like getting ready, and then it was like, oh no no no, here we go again, and like you think it's gonna go, and then it goes on for like an extra 4 measures, and you're like, and then it just fucking lifts off, and I'm like, oh thank you.
Dude, they're just edging you. They're edging you hard, my guy.
Uh, I do like how the lyrics of the song are kind of neat too. It's about a fucking dude who's like drowning but gets picked up by a giant squid, and he's like, I don't know, dude, you could just fucking kill me, dude. And the squid's like, no, you have so much to live for. And it's like, what?
dude,
I
I'm
wish
a
a
good
fucking
squid.
giant squid would tell me, yeah,
Dude,
I had something to live for.
you know, squids kind of have noodly arms. Would you
Yeah,
say that squid is a good noodle?
I would. In fact, I would say it twice.
Yeah. The only other thing that I really have to add at this track is at around 204. There's like this amazing vocal melody that I really appreciated. It was like he was just going nuts, and it was kind of alternating between his harmonic and more edgy sounding vocals. It was great. Fucking love that shit. Keep it up, big guy.
Keep it up, big boy. Yeah, that was I personally consider that one the best song uh
Yeah, it's up there.
off the
I'd
album.
say it's probably my
Um,
favorite or tied for the favorite.
Nice. Moving on though to track number 3, 21 Letters.
Yeah,
There's once again math rock. Got to get those fucking technical like mechanical guitar skills in there.
get those
Throw
doodly
some
boys
pan
going.
on that shit. I fucking love it. That stuff gets me rock hard. These guys have some pretty fucking talented guitar players.
Yeah, and
They are.
their guitar has a really solid, bright tone to it as well. It sounds very pleasant. Makes my pee pee go, oh, that's very sweet. Um, and this particular song is the lead. I want to say lead because I think they have essentially two lead guitarists. Essentially,
Yeah, it's like honestly, it's math rock, so I
yeah,
never really fucking know. But there are definitely two guitarists.
yeah. The leads on this are like super super anthemic sounding. It's like very hell yeah, brother, this is awesome kind of sound to it. And they did this thing kind of during, I want to say it's the midsection of the song where they're doing like the anthemic leads and the guitars are just kind of popping off, and then all of a sudden everything stops except like this little tremolo picked thing that's like, and then it just immediately swings back into the wild shit, and I'm like, hold on, what the fuck just happened? It actually sounds really cool, and it serves well
It's
to break up the rest of the kind of haze of guitars that's just coming at your face.
Yeah, like when the second verse comes in, there's like an entirely new style that they transition into that like helps you like get away from the influx of fucking. It's like, oh my god, and then they change it up for you, and it's really nice. But then the end of the song hits you with a detuned like whole entire section where everything kind of feels just a little bit off, and that kind of took me out of it a little bit. I wasn't really expecting it. Not necessarily sounded bad, just I don't think it really fit with what the rest of the song was like providing.
Yeah,
That might just be my personal opinion, but
no, I kind of agree with that. I do think it sounded kind of neat, but like not so much in the context of the whole song.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. If it had been in a different part of the song maybe, or if it had been in a different song entirely, I might have enjoyed it more. It just didn't feel like it fit where it was
yeah, you're right.
to me.
Um,
Do you know what also doesn't fit very well, Justin?
track 4, Espeta.
Yeah, it's just another little interlude track.
Yeah,
Really soon into the album, right after like a previous interlude. Didn't really get it.
yeah.
I liked it though.
Yeah, that
I
being
mean,
said, I like this one significantly more than the useless flaccid one at the start. This one at least had a little body to it, and the guitar ditty was kind of nice.
I said tell me how you felt about it in the comment section below. But I said it gave me the feeling of laying in a pool of water inside of a cave where the ceiling looks like stars. That's kind of what I felt out of this. That's just like if I closed my eyes, that's what I saw. And it was weird. I felt like I was there.
You gotta stop taking. You gotta
Could
stop
have
taking
been.
those antidepressants. They're giving you weird visions.
Could have been. You never know. But yeah, not much to say about that one. It was like another minute long interlude.
Yeah.
Moving on to Lake Sprinkle Sprankle, track 5.
I fucking love this song too. This is a good one. This shit is a jam.
This one's super math rock.
Yeah,
Like,
this is like a
definition
math
math
rock
rock.
anthem. And I really like the vocal performance on this. It's just kind of like super harmonic, and it almost plays with the guitars at points too. And the lyrics are super good too. The lyrics are actually phenomenal on this track. And also, I haven't talked about it. I've been saving it. I've been saving it really hard. God damn it,
Hit
the
me with
bass
it.
work is so fucking good, dude.
Dude.
I fucking love the bass work on this track. I love the bass work on the other tracks. The bass makes my
we got
pee-pee
some
go
good
hard,
bass
dude.
albums coming
Yeah,
in today.
yeah, dude. The bass on these last two albums have been fucking solid, mate. Fucking solid. And there's this point near the end of the song where they're like, I don't know if you watched the music video at all for this one.
I did not.
Oh my god, the music video, fucking weird and wild. The music video for this song is fucking lit. It's just so bizarre and like, what the fuck is happening? There's fruit. Okay. Some of the fruit is exploding. Okay, they're putting it in beakers and shit, and science is happening. okay, now they're a bunch of weird floating bubble heads on scientist people, and he's playing a snare drum with fucking pencils. I don't know what's happening, but it's cool.
Sounds like my kind of Friday night.
And it's just like there's this point where it like transitions out, and they go into this like do 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 do, and the bass just fucking pops off, dude. It's so good, so
I
good.
I really love this song, and it kind of leads you into the for the rest of the album. You'll notice there's a very specific style of um vocal like inflection and like melody that
Yeah,
these guys have,
yeah, they
and
do tend to rely on that a little bit.
there's a little bit maybe too much of it in the album, but like this song kind of introduces it, and it introduces it really well because it kind of hits you suddenly, and it's really interesting to listen to how he like enunciates and like lines up the words to mix with each bar, and it's not bad at all. It's fucking cool to listen to.
Yeah,
Kind of gets a little iffy towards the end of the album, but for sure, coming into this song, vocals are popping. Verse 3 hits in with like a whisper vocal thing, and like you
yeah,
kind of really get to hear this dude's voice, and it is nice.
yeah. It's
Nice.
quite solid, quite solid. Um, what wasn't quite so solid for me is track 6, which is Spy Turtles. First of all, love the name. Great allusion to Spy Kids 3D, legendary cinematographic. That's not a real word.
You gave it your best shot.
I gave
pal.
it my real speaking shot. Spy Kids 3D, excellent movie. Everybody should see
Cinematic
that.
masterpiece
Oh yeah,
is what you were
absolute
looking for.
masterpiece. Yeah, cinematic masterpiece. I can't fucking speak. Give me a break. But I didn't care for this song. To me, aside from the weird kind of like transitional tracks, this was probably the weakest track on the album. Not that it was super bad per se. It's just they use like some electronic sampling that I really didn't care for at the beginning. Like this whole album thus far has been like pretty much guitars, 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 drums, guitars. And then for this one they decided to cut that and go for like an electronic approach at the beginning, which really just was not doing it for my pee-pee.
I see. I'm gonna counter argument that because I agree with the fact that it didn't really fit with the rest of the album. I don't think the song was meant for this album, but individually standing as its own song, this is probably my favorite just to hear because of how fucking beautiful the vocal harmonies are with this fucking guy, and just how oddly good the synths and the voice work together. I don't know, it's something about it. Like as soon as I heard the synths, I was like, "What the fuck is this doing on this album?" But like I listened to it like over and over, and I'm like, "Man, this shit sounds great."
Yeah,
But why is it on this album?
it really kind of feels like they just had maybe like a keyboardist or something was like doing a little diddling or something, and they're just like, "Hey, that sounds cool. We're gonna throw it onto the album." Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it sounds incredible.
yeah, it sounds
doesn't
nice, but
fit
it
with
doesn't.
the
It
album.
doesn't really fit with what they had going on, which is unlike the next song, which also alludes to the cinematic masterpiece Spy Kids, but instead Spy Kid. This one's Spy Dolphin this time.
Yes, and this song kind of, well, I mean, Spy Turtles kind of started it, but after Spy Dolphin, every song after it kind of tells one really long story
Yes.
through their lyrics, and it's it's a pretty good shit, and it transitions nicely from Spy Turtles. They use that an ending synth, they bring it into Spy Dolphins, and it transitions back into live instrumentation.
Yeah, which is
Everyone's
good.
favorite.
It's good. They needed to go back to that, otherwise I was gonna sue. Yeah, this one kind of like starts the story, I guess, because it's like talking about the houses leaking
Yep.
and shit.
You're going underwater.
Yeah,
Your house is leaking. Your door is breaking,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's fish down there,
and
baby.
there's people faking things. Actually, that's not a part of the story, but
No.
whatever. It's fine. But the song is I kind of find this to be the most wallpapery of the indie rock
Yeah.
kind of tunes on
It's
the album. It's again not bad. It's not bad. And if I heard this one like solo on the radio, I'd probably jam along to it. But it's not it's not super standout-ish from the rest of the
no.
album. It's just kind of there to add to the
The issue
story.
the issue with Spy Dolphin, as is with some of the rest of the songs coming up, is that they really drive into like their quote unquote style, where the vocal like melody is the same, uh, the the chord progression is kind of the same, where the song layout is kind of the same, where it's like heavy math rock guitars and then calm section where it's just one guitar. And then the drums come in and it's building back up and then it's the math rock again and then the song's over. Next song starts and it's kind of the same thing again. And that kind of starts here. But not to say that it's bad.
Yeah,
It just it's just kind of gets in the way a little bit.
I
And it's
would
really
I would
noticeable
agree
when
with
you
that.
listen to
Yeah.
the album the whole way through, which we do.
Also, I'd like to make a quick shout out to that man that just drove by my street with like massive, massive pipes on his truck. Shout out to you for fucking up my
Shout out to
recording.
Pipe Guy.
Yeah, shout out to Pipe Guy for fucking up my recording. I'm gonna find you. Um,
Also, I felt like a Spy Dolphin could have been a bit shorter.
yeah,
It was like a
really
6 minute long song that could have been 4 minutes.
Yeah,
But you gotta add those fucking 3 transitional phases where the guitar changes a little bit.
yeah, dude.
That's just
What,
how
what
it be.
else? What else would be a Delta Sleep song? Track 8. This one is actually either. I think this is slightly less my favorite than Uncle Ivan, because this song I actually really really like. This song it's Daniel Craig David. I don't know who the fuck this man is, but
Well, I mean, Daniel Craig is fucking James Bond, isn't it?
yeah, but he's
Who's
not.
Daniel Craig? David.
Yeah,
though?
yeah, we're gonna find him. We're gonna find you, Daniel Craig David. We're gonna find you. But I really like a lot of the lyrics and the vocal melody, and the vocals kind of bring in that hardcore influence that was kind of missing from, or at least missing for me, from a little bit of Lake Sprinkle Sprankle and Spy Turtles and Spy Dolphins. So it's been, and actually from like Letters too, like 21 Letters. So the, I mean, it did make an appearance on Lake Sprinkle Sprankle, but it was missing for quite a while, and having that pop back in was a much needed like refocusing
Change
for
in
me.
style.
Yeah. And yeah, just I really like this song. It's fucking good. Bass work is again
Yeah.
phenomenal. Grooves hard.
I
It's
I
nicely
once
placed in
again
the mix.
feel it could have been a little bit shorter, but they do have a key change towards the end, which helps with like changing things up just a little bit to keep it more interesting. But the drums, the vocals, especially the vocals, really fucking good. Thank you, Daniel Craig, wherever you are. David. Shit.
Daniel Craig David's coming for you, dude. He's
Do
the
you think-
actual James Bond.
Do you think he probably hasn't seen a movie role in a while? Do you think he's probably missing a bit of money? You think he's going hungry? Maybe hungry for love?
That's
Track number 9.
That's track number 9, my guy.
That it is. It transitions from the last song. Once again, this is a pure instrumental track, no vocals. And as everyone knows with math rock, you're getting 8 billion guitars and one fucking absolute unit of a drummer.
Yeah.
Because this dude does not hold back in this song.
Yeah, this is easily the best quote unquote transitional piece on the song. I'm just calling it transitional because it's instrumental and kind of bridges between the between track 8 and track 10, but this song kicks actually a lot of ass. This is an ass kicking song. This is a song for ass kickers and ass kickers associated.
This is actually the song that I listened to where it was like one of the first songs I heard from Delta Sleep, and I was like, man, this song's nice. And then I looked up the album, and I was like, well, time to recommend this one on the podcast
Yeah,
because this song is awesome.
yes, it's quite good. I really like the bass at the beginning. Like it's kind of repetitive, but then like it hits the point where the guitars come in and the guy rakes his bass, and you can just hear that kind of grit in the bass strokes, and it's just makes me want to bust a fat fucking nut to that bass, dude.
It's the song is actually pretty repetitive up until like the last minute or
Yeah.
so, but like that's not technically a bad thing. The repetitiveness kind of adds to what you're listening to anyway, and then the ending just makes it like wraps it up in a nice bow, puts it underneath the Christmas tree, and you're waking up Christmas morning picking up something nice.
Yep, your parents are there to tell you that Santa Claus isn't real, but you're there to point at the box and be like, "You're fucking wrong, dude. It's right
I'm
there."
hungry for love, Mom. But why? But also, Mom, real question: why'd you have to name me Strongthany? Track number 10, Strongthany, like Anthony, but instead of Ann, it's Strong.
Yeah, I hate the name on this song actually. Like,
Why is it called Strongthany?
yeah, I don't know, but like I saw that it was titled Strongthany, and I was just like, is this like an Anthony Fantano joke here? Like, he likes to change his name in his intros, but this isn't an intro. This is an outro. What the fuck is happening here?
This is a song.
And this is for me. This song is much along the lines of Spy Dolphin, where it just feels like they've done this already on the album.
Yep. This song definitely hits that vein of being their standard style of guitars break with less guitars, heavy instrumentation, and then rinse and repeat. I have that it actually feels just like this is just one long continuation of like the rest of the songs from before.
Yeah,
And but it does hit you with some kind of unique stuff. There's some stick shot sounds coming in halfway through. There's chant vocals for
yes,
once.
yes,
That
there
was
are
pretty
chant
neat.
vocals.
It was I really liked the sound of those because they were haven't heard that yet, and it kind of threw me for a loop a little bit.
Yeah, and it was actually kind of a decent way to close out the album with the chant vocals because it makes it sound super anthemic and like, yeah, chant vocals, yeah. It's just that the rest of the song really didn't do anything that they hadn't already done. So I was only like quarter chubbed, you know?
Only a quarter chub. That's sad.
Just
But
really not doing it for me.
so I'm getting the sense that you didn't. Did you hear Camp Adventure?
What?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because you kept saying outro track, and I wasn't really sure what you were talking about. There's
Hold on.
actually a track 11 on this album, Justin.
Did I get diddled? Because I listened to this on their Bandcamp.
Yeah, and I listened to this on Spotify,
Oh.
and there was an extra track thrown in there. I noticed that before. I was on their Bandcamp, and also some other sites only said 10, but for some reason Spotify had 11. So
Well,
I don't
Spotify is a
I
lying
don't
sack
consider
of
it
shit.
yeah, I'm not going to consider it a main part of the album. I'm going to consider it like an extra piece just for that, but I'll talk about it a little bit because it was kind of interesting to listen to. It starts off really fucking weird. Not weird as in like sound wise, but weird as in the drum beat is consistently going from like 4/4 to like 2/4 and like, not 2/4, like fucking 3/4, and like in between, like consistently, where it's like bum 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 bum.
Sounds like math
Boom.
rock to me, my guy.
And I was like, wow, this is wild. And then like it brings some synths in, but the synths are subtle and they're mixing with the guitars really well. And the guitars are playing on like different off beats and off beats of each other. And the dude's vocals were, instead of being like their typical style where he's kind of singing like one long continuous line or like off canter a little bit, these ones were really standard. and they were more like a typical, indie rock song would be, and they sounded really good. It like really showed off this guy's like his vocal prowess, and I was like, damn, that was a good way to finish that one off, boys. Good job. I'm real proud of you.
So
Blow
what
him a
you're
kiss.
saying is this should have actually been the closer track instead of Strong Fitty.
I do think so, yes. Because also the lyrics of the song kind of tie everything together a little bit, and they like instead of being about like the drowning and and his door and all that, it's kind of like after everything had happened, and it's like you can it's like we could rebuild again or some shit like that, and it was a good end. I liked it.
You hear that, Delta Sleep? You hear that?
You hear that, Delta Sleep?
Fix your
I gave
fix
you
your
a
fucking album from 3 years ago.
yeah, you pieces of shit.
Yeah, go back and re-record the whole thing just so that song can be
Make
your
it
closer.
more
Come
for
on.
me. Make it more for me. Even though I overall give this album an 8 out of 10. I fucking we know me, you know me. I love fucking instrumental math rock shit.
Yeah.
And like this just was like at a high peak of it. It had great instrumentation, like super unique sounds and like different ideas and like ways to like show them off. And this guy's vocals, I'm gonna admit it, really fucking good. This guy's got a voice on him and he can change it up pretty much however he wants, and it sounds good. My only gripes are that the whole thing is kind of stale and repetitive, and like some songs just kind of feel like they're the same song, like for the third time. But that's my issue, is that I liked the first song the first time. So like if it's just the same song over again, I'm probably gonna like it.
So
That's what I thought.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, Chief. I heard Uncle Ivan, and I thought I was gonna be giving this bad boy a 9.5. I was like,
Yeah.
if the rest of this album is like Uncle Ivan, this shit is going to make me nut before the day is over. And instead it was not like Uncle Ivan, but Uncle Ivan is still a fucking nutty song. And there's a lot of other very, very positive moments on this album. So overall, I'm gonna give this bad boy an 8.5 out of 10. I don't listen to too much strictly math music. I listen to like math metal and shit like that. So this was a different experience for me to have like a combination of math rock, indie rock, emo, core sounding kind of shit, and like post hardcore. This was very refreshing for me to listen to. It's a good palate cleanser, especially given what I've been listening to lately.
Yeah, and definitely for everyone listening off at home, I know I've showed you, Justin, personally, but their more recent songs are like Ivan, but like better,
Yeah,
and they just have honed their craft over the past couple of years and have definitely been putting out some like insanely good music.
yeah.
So highly recommend checking those out too.
I would definitely recommend checking out their other stuff as well. The album art for this one, 2 octopus themed album arts, or squid themed.
Yeah, I was
And,
surprised. We don't plan these things out. They just kind of happen.
Yeah, it was a natural occurrence. And the album art for this one I found a little bit more aesthetically pleasing because it's kind of minimalist and it's got like some shades of
It's more like
seafoam.
something you'd want as a desktop background
Yeah, it was.
than one you'd want as like. Well, I guess I'd want them both as posters technically.
Yeah.
But I could see this one being like my phone background or something, and then the Brain Tentacles one being something I show to a friend to be like, look at this fucking thing. Dude.
Yeah. So I give this album art a 9.5 out of 10 because this one is
I'd give it a 9. Yeah.
this one is fucking litty as a titty. I really like it. There's like a little diver man.
He's in there, boys.
It's great.
He's being told that he can make it. Just follow the seagulls
It's
or the birds or whatever the fuck
yeah,
they said.
you just gotta follow that shit. So for next week,
But to round it all together next week's. What do you got for me, Justin? What do you want me to what do you want to bless my ears with?
I don't know if it's gonna bless your ears, but it might crush your fifis, my guy, because this is some sad boy
Ooh,
shit right here.
I love sad boy shit.
This
Let
is
me hear it.
my album recommendation is Crywank's album "Don't Piss on Me, I'm Already Dead." And yes, you heard that right. Their band name is Crywank. One word, Crywank. I don't know why they thought that was a good name. but they make some hella sad music, and you're gonna listen to that shit.
Well, I'm already perpetually sad 24/7, so how much worse could it get? I, on the other hand, Justin, and am recommending my boy Jack Stauber's album Hilo, Hilo. That is Jack Stauber, Stauber, Hilo, Hilo. It is it's an album. It sounds like things. He's a very, very unique man who makes very unique sounding music, and we're gonna get an earful of that one for next week.
I mean, okay, I'm a little scared, but I like weird shit. I did recommend Brain Tentacles, so
Yeah, it's electronic weird. It's not metal weird.
oh shit.
So he has a lot more to work with than a saxophone.
That is my smallest area of expertise. Well, that's
Well,
good.
we're
That's good.
putting you somewhere you haven't been before. Like when you put me inside of fucking, you recommend me noise albums, Justin. I don't know anything about those, so let's not let's stick let's throw each other for a loop sometimes, okay?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. And then they stayed friends for another 24 days.
Only 24.
I just had to pick a random short period interval. I'm gonna
They listened to the albums, but after that, like 2 weeks later, they just couldn't stand each other.
yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna set a timer for that, and then I'm gonna mail you a friend breakup. And
You're gonna mail me your letter of resignation of being my friend.
yeah, dude. And it's also gonna have an attached picture of me hanging out with other people that you don't know and being like, these are my cool new friends.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be truly potent.
Everyone else is truly potent, Justin.
Our social media, which
Hell
we're
yeah,
now
it
going to
is.
shout out.
You can check out the Noise Report on Twitter at Noise Report Cast. You can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, other audio platforms, YouTube. I guess technically that's audio if you close your eyes.
Yeah,
You could check out our own personal Twitters. Mine is at the real Hisuya.
mine is at Crescent Commie. And if you get lost trying to find those, you can always go to at Noise Report Cast and find them there because they are linked
We are
there. And
We're there.
you know,
We're square and we're out there,
uh,
baby.
I probably wouldn't bother subscribing to or following whatever the fuck my tweeter unless you really like shitty memes every 2 months.
It's true.
But
Do what makes you happy, friends.
yeah,
And make sure to join in next week after we check in those beautiful albums we recommended so we can have another wonderful hour-long conversation shitting on or crying over that stuff.
yeah.
Yeet. Anyway, goodbye.